I've had some requests to review people's Depop stores, so today you're going to join me as we look through these people's Depop stores and give an honest opinion on how it actually looks. I've got 6 Depop stores at request to review, and we're going to go through them from start to finish, and I'm going to just give feedback and be honest about what I think initially and what they could be improved, and just an overall feedback on how everything looks. Let's get to Depop and let's start chucking this around. So the first person we've got is the Nuu Nook. I am going to probably butcher writing this one. Got it! We found you. The Nuu Nook. The Nuu Nook. We've got the AstroTurf 5-a-side vibes coming through. I can see the lighting technique we've got right now. We've got a light over the subject matter, and you can see that because you've got a lot of light on the top and you've got a little bit of a darker patch along the bottom. You can definitely tell where the lighting's positioned based on how the lighting looks. Is that a bad thing? Not necessarily. That is very well lit. You can see that looks perfect. The behind of it looks blurry. I'm assuming that it's a white or green screen background that you've cut out and put something on the background. The aim of the game is to find a colour that you can use on the background. If it's not to be white, it has to be something that's solid. These actually look really good. The green contrasts the black, the grey, the navy very, very well, so it allows you to see exactly what the colour of the item is. However, let's go and find an item that isn't of a different colour. This looks like you've got the lighting perfectly. It looks like you've got it in a different position. You've got the lighting spread very well. I'm gonna have to give you a round of applause so far. Everything's looking pretty good. Let's have a look at the description. Any lowballing offers will be ignored and user will be blocked. Any lowballing offers will be ignored and user will be blocked. So if I send you an offer on this jacket for £20 or maybe even £15, you're gonna block me for giving you an offer. Not sure on that one. I understand how it's very frustrating with dealing with people who wanna buy things and they wanna send you an offer, but what you have to understand is if an app has a feature that allows people to send an offer, there is no jurisdiction or no specification that says you should not send an offer for less than 20% of that original price. All they see is the ability to send an offer to an item. So your response should more so be targeted toward Depop itself for allowing offers more than the customer. I think the customer isn't aware that lowballing would be a thing. They just think they're sending offers. As a reputable seller, I do my best to accurately describe the condition of all items and clearly state whether the item is new. Very good. So my feedback so far would be make sure that the lighting is in the same position as where it sits perfectly and evenly. Have a little think about how you want to talk to your customers who send you low offers in that description. Maybe look at different options for backgrounds. I've seen this done a million times and I don't think it looks as good as people think it does. I think you're onto something more with the green. I'm going to give this one like an 8.5 out of 10, you know. Yes! We found you, my dude. Planet Vintage is in the house. Vintage streetwear, sportswear, fully sustainable. Nice. Can see my dude's going for the clean white background, keeping things very smart, very simplified. Mix of sort of the Nike and the Ralph Lauren. We've got some of the old vintage sportswear. This looks good. What I have to say about things like this, the items look clean, I can see the products, and as far as a flat lay perspective goes, it's very accurate, it's very simplified. Every time I see ones like this though, do you never get concerned that you blend in with other sellers? Or is that just something that I've had? Because my mindset's always been to stand out. It's not that blending in is a bad thing, because I bet you anything, Planet Vintage gets boosted on the homepage because the images are clean. My argument is, would you ever consider trying to do something out of the box? Trying to look different? Other than that, everything's very clean. You could put the size in the title. SEO always recommends you put the size in the title, so putting that in the title allows people to see it before they have to check it. It's nice about upgrading to 24 hours and getting it for an extra £1. This is definitely important to include. Let's have a look if we've got any negative feedback. And yes, when I'm looking for things that are wrong. Because Planet Vintage, I don't want to say it's out of this world. I'm probably going to give this a 9. My feedback really on this one is just that it looks the same as everybody else, and it's not that it looks bad to be the same as everybody else, but my argument from a creative perspective is, do you ever want to challenge that narrative of just blending in? Retro Empire Store. Right, Retro Empire Store. Let's have a little look at my dude. Oh, I already know what type of store this is. 3,000 sold in 1K, so this is a similar seller to Planet Vintage right now. There's something very clever what Retro has done here, and what he's allowed himself to do is create a shadow through the Photoshop, which gives it a good lift. When we think about how we work on a flat lay studio, working with flat lays does have a limit versus working with people, and I will preach that for as long as I preach that. The reason why I like the shadow effect, it doesn't take contrast away from what the product is and how it looks. It just gives it an uplifted feel. and I actually think that when you're charging 140 quid, I'm not going to judge. Price has a little bit more of a justification to sit by it when the photos look great. I haven't really critiqued the prices so much, and I don't want to go too heavy into the prices. This is somebody who wants to be more of a premium Depop seller. £90 for them, what are they? Yeah, that's sick. Plus, it's not a white background. These photos are very good. 50 quid for a t-shirt, it's always crazy, but it's stussy. So let's have a look. Good. Shipped in recyclable bags. If they can know information quickly, they like to know that information. The reason why this looks clean is because there's that elevated movement feel, plus there's a static nature to it. So this item, the body's static, but the arms are actually moving and they're creating that elevated movement. This is somebody who understands what aesthetic they're going for. And I think you can tell when there's a level of understanding going on. I would amend little minor details like that. Putting spaces in between emojis is always a nice little subtle feature. If there's a space before it, there should be a space after it. The pictures would look really good. That, whether it's like an aesthetic that you're doing within it, I don't think that it was very quick and easy to understand what the measurements were, because it's just one line. It should always be two lines. Thing that you just want to like have a little look at readjusting this, just with how it sits and placement. Other than that, it's a 9. Thrifty towel. Let's have a look at what you have on offer. 760 sold, 400 feedback. Feel good, look good, make a difference. Globally sourced vintage. What's that? What is that? I'm assuming that's a message for a customer. Come from a background of using model photography, and I really want to come with as much objectivity to this photography as possible. I struggle to distinguish certain differences. So if we look at Retro Empire, he used a different background with an elevated underline on the shadow that created a different perspective. Thrifty, here I can see, based on the products that he's got, all it is about is simplifying and cleaning that look up, because the items speak for themselves. The price and the product sits on its own. That CP company is fire. The description's really good, but there's no measurements. You've not said what the size and the fit is, and the least you could do with an item that costs £250 is add the pit to pit and the back of neck to hem. It's just good to have that additional information added. Plus, you know, you want to eliminate that process of people actually messaging you, whether this is purposeful or not. I love this raised material look. Definitely something that's very underlooked for certain people who try and get the neat pressed look. Other than that, Thrifty, your products speak for yourself. You're a top tier seller and you look wicked. Just tidy this up a little bit. Maybe it looks better on mobile, but lineage of the use of the text just goes a long way in embellishments to the aesthetic. V-Face die. V-Face die. Which one are you? 87 sold. This is perfect. So this is somebody who's probably just started out with it, realistically speaking, maybe. Whoa, tie-dye, unique handcrafted custom. Create your own ice cream tracksuit. That's interesting. After ordering, send us a message on what 3 colours you would like and chest and waist size. Sort out the clutterness of the text there. It doesn't read very smooth. The other pictures are just examples of what you could order. Oh, mate. That's a USP. Stuff like that is really cool, and I don't know what success you have with that, but that's a really cool way of using a platform where people just upload photos of items and adding a bit of a personal take. I think that's really cool. I don't think many people do that, and you've got some modelled shots in there. Nice. This is brilliant. You've put an E at the end of fresh. I know it sounds like I'm talking like a teacher or something, but it goes a long way for people to see that you're serious about the way that you write your descriptions. I don't know, that sounds really particular, but this is really nice. I think that the fact that you've explained how the dye works and its permanence, I think is a really key aspect when you are advertising a product that people essentially have to build before they buy. That's really cool. You're early into the stages of things, and it seems like the process you've got is really good. The feedback I would say is just tidy up that description, make sure it just sounds really clean. I see you're doing the one every other one you have the create. I think that once you see it once, maybe just pin it at the top, variate with some of the modelled shots. You'd probably be sweet with that, because this looks a little bit chaotic at the top. There's a lack of lineage with all of this. You've got a row of models, brick wall, and then we've got this theme going up. So just kind of mix it up a little bit. Last but not least, we have Cops and Clobber. If you want me to review your Depop store, all you've got to do is put a comment and I will review it for you. 5,000 items sold. We have finished with a bang. Assortment of unique wearables from, I like that. if you can use other alternatives for speaking about clothes, it always goes a long way. There's obviously this rug aesthetic, this sort of patterns rugs that people get and you put the items on it. The only argument I have for that is that when you are dealing with items with multiples of colours and you are putting your item on something that has multiples of colours, there is an argument to suggest a conflict of the eye's psychology to processing it, because there might be some element, it seems really silly, but I'm looking at it zoomed out more. When you look through the theme of all the items, does it stand out, or does the background stand out and then confuse people what they're looking for? One thing I used to have before is people used to get confused at the models I would use. They used to have all their faces in it, and then I started to cut people's faces out, streamline the way that it became unrecognized photography, because people were like, I love your photos, but I'm distracted by the item and the model even. So all I was saying is, this item looks really good, but there's an argument that could suggest that sometimes the background may conflict that. I don't think if it's a block color item it won't. But let's have a little look, see if I can give some constructive feedback. I think that, yes, see this. The rug is a really good look, but look at that. That, at an arm's distance, scrolling through lots of bags, that won't stand out. There's more going on the background than on the foreground. If the background is more exciting to look at than the foreground, then it poses the question about how long are people's attention's going to be fixated on your product. Nothing to take away from the fact that it's a cool bag. It's just, it's not highlighting enough on this background for me. I think that the information that's been put in is really good. Nice, adding the Instagram in there as well is a nice touch. Sometimes sellers will go through the route of explaining a lot about how their processes are with shipping items, and other sellers will really break down what the item is. And I think that this approach of breaking this down is super key, super imperative for people to understand exactly what the features are for those that don't see. However, what I would say is that certain parts of this just miss their leverage by the fact that I guarantee this could have a lot more click-throughs on its product if it stood out more. So maybe just try a few different variations of like rugs. Maybe even what you could do is you could take a photo of the rug without products on, you could change the curves within Photoshop, save that as a preset, and then when you shoot onto like the rug, you just cut it out and put it on a previous preset. Obviously still use the rug based on the lighting and everything, but just as an idea, I think that it'd be good to see the rug in a few variations of its colorway. It looks really good, and there's not many products that don't stand out, I must say. But this background, I'm here for it. That is so clean. I can't tell whether I like that more than the Retro Empire one or not. I think I like them both for different reasons. That reminds me of like old school photos when you'd be at school. The background's like that eggshell, duck shell, whatever the colour is. It's just that nice background. On the surface, all of these stores that have been attached looked great for a multitude of different reasons. Certain things that stand out for completely different reasons. But the aim of the game is to stand out whilst being on board and on par with what a platform wants from you. Depop wants you to look good, and it wants to feature you on the homepage. But the feedbacks that I've said reflect my opinion on what I would do differently. I think the description has to be considered with the same approach as the photography, because the whole thing is a package, and once it is nicely, if you've got the time to take a really good photo but not enough time to question your description, I might think that you are very good at presenting yourself but not very good at executing. There was nothing below an 8.5 out of 10 on these. Big up, I appreciate you for letting me do a video on it. And if there's anybody else that's out there, let me stop pointing a pencil at you. Drop a comment with your Depop handle. Let me review it, let me look at it. Big up guys, as always, stay safe, stay sustainable, stay original. Don't forget to drop a comment, and around me, I might put the other Depop video. So yeah, big love, enjoy yourself, take care, and yeah, see you in a bit.